I remember, first time I fell in love with Carnival. First time I felt so magical. I tried to find a melody. You're wrong. You're wrong.
The opinions and statements made by the host and participants in this program are not those of the owners, advertisers, and management company of Sugar City FM 90.3, nor are such statements necessarily supported or endorsed by the owners, managers, or advertisers of this station. While we encourage all to share their opinions, we do not support any comments that may slander, discriminate, or otherwise offend anyone, and we insist that you refrain from any such statements.
If you have a dream, what are you waiting for? The development bank has what you need and more. We aim to build stronger communities. That's why we have so many opportunities. Business loans, student loans, we make a positive difference in your life, in your life, in your life, in your life. Yeah, financing your dream home, we make a positive difference in your life, in your life, in your life, in your life. Yeah. Development Bank of St. Kitts and Nevis. We make a sustained positive difference in your life.
Welcome to the customer support portal, where we have made it easier for you to contact us. It starts with your question, email, a message, phone call, or a search on our website. Our CSP provides prompt and efficient solutions to your problems. We pride ourselves on treating our clients responsibly and ensuring your information is kept safe. Log on to www.skndb.net and send us a ticket or email us at customersupport@skndb.com. You may also call us directly at 869-465-2288, extension 1322, or 954-353-1003.
Fellow citizens, near and far, join Newrish Nital on Sugar City 90.3 for Fear No Favor.
Good evening and welcome to Fear No Favor. And tonight we're going to touch on certain topics and subtopics, and I think that it will be very interesting. Before I get into the socio-political side of it, I would like to get on a very serious side of things in our federation. We have the Cajola company, the Transnational Corporation company that is at our industrial site. Information was given that sooner rather than later, that factory would be closed, and a lot of persons would have to be catered for so that that void can be filled to the largest possible extent. This just goes to show that at times, regardless of where you're working, you must put that extra effort into ensuring that your children would not have it as difficult as you had it. We owe our children some hard work. We need to work hard so that they don't have to come behind and have to work harder than we worked. And there's a good example of a lady, Mrs. Denise Weeks, who once worked at the industrial site. And she made observations. She made herself a promise. And she also aspired to be better than a mere factory worker. But she made sacrifices too, because she ensured while she worked hard to see her children go forward. that she would have to take care of them first before she can put an iota of energy into her own academics. And I was rather impressed that this lady really had a plan in her mind for both her responsibilities and herself. And as such, I want to share a conversation that we had. It was not anything recorded for the radio per se. We just had our conversation because she's a teacher and it's not all the time when we as teachers would just speak the Queen's language, so to speak. You know, Queen, head of the Commonwealth, is celebrating her platinum year. That is 70 years of being at the top of the throne. Not all the time we speak her language, but I think we had a conversation that was rather encouraging. And with the note or the information that Kajola would be closing very soon, then she sent me this and I got permission from her to play it. And I want all those persons, especially those who working at the industrial site, to listen to this lady very carefully. And those of you who work in other places that seem to keep you at that minimum wage level, I want you to take heed and take the message. Let it be transformative. Let it be instructive and transformative for a lot of us who work for minimum wage and seem as if we are stagnated there. Sometimes all it takes is a sacrifice. Let us listen to Mrs. Weeks' story.
So it's a very simple and complicated story. When I left school, I didn't really have a lot of subjects because at the time when I left, it was not a pass. And so mommy told me to go to work and go to night class. But I did start with some classes, but it was so hectic and I stopped. And then got married, got my children, did some subjects, I think 2 of them, failed them, stop again. And then I did one subject, OA, Office Procedures, and I passed it. And that they gave me the impetus to move forward because I realized that my life was like at a dead end in the factory. Like people always look down on factory people, they don't really take them seriously. Like we just think like you just nobody up there. And so after I passed the Office Procedures, the following year in 2000, I did social studies for CSEC and an A-level in business and an A-level in English. And I was able to pass all those 3 subjects in 1 year while sitting in the factory. And then I started to look for a job now, trying to get myself out up there, apply for teaching. They called me, then they said they ain't called me, they ain't give me the job. And then down in the dumps again up there, trying to get out, because the thing about working in a factory is that people don't, even though you achieve academically, people sometimes don't have the faith in you to believe that you could do anything else but being a factory based and the degrading things and the degrading way that society always look down on them people up there. They look down on us because I always consider myself a factory and my children a product of the factory. And so finally, I got into teaching and then I started teaching English because I had an A-level in English. Went to Teachers College, did my associate, and then had an opportunity now with the University of South Wales to skip the bachelor's and do a master's. And I chose to do a master's in psychology. And so coming off of that now, I'm doing another master's in business administration because I believe that, it's my time now because during the interim after I started teaching and so on, my daughters them had grown up and I decided that it was time to push them forward. And so while they pursued their studies, I just pump the money into them and help out myself. And so after they would have completed now, then I started focusing on it. But I would just like you to tell the factory people and say that I really feel the pain and I really feel the sadness and sorrow that some of them going through because although I'm a teacher now, I've never really divorced myself from being a factory worker from that experience because people don't really want to give them a chance. And sometimes they don't give themselves a chance because when the factory offer a lot of overtime, they work the overtime and they don't try to go out and educate themselves. They just sit up there. Well, I guess some of them have quite a number of children to look after, but not all of them. That is not all of them story. And they still stay and look for the instant gratification in terms of working the overtime. Because a lot of times I had to walk away from the overtime. In fact, when I did my 3 subjects to get the same English that propelled me out of the factory, I lived in Market Street and I had to go up CFBC, pass Market Street, and reach over Bassett High School to do my A-level English with Mr. Blake. So one ended at 7 and one began at 7. And I did it. And at the end of the day, I was able to pass all the 3 subjects in one sitting, while sitting and working in the factory every day. So there's, I think that as women, they shortchange themselves and don't try to educate. Quite a lot of them, the work up there is so difficult, Mr. Nital, that you can't say a fool could do it because you have to know what you're doing. And a lot of you have bright people, bright young women who may have fell out of school because of pregnancy, maybe some other issue within the family, but they still have a mind to learn, and some of them could still think. And I think that it is time for them to use the media, use the internet that they have at their disposal to try to do some subjects. You can do subjects online. The people who are more patient and if you don't want to go to the rigor of CBC because you have to be well dedicated to go up there and committed to pass up there because sometimes they move at such a fast pace that they leave you behind. You have to do so much on your own. But they could use the internet, use YouTube to try to educate themselves academically. I mean, academics is not all. Some of them have their skills and stuff, but I realize that most of the time to back up your skill, you need some kind of academics. And so I really would like you to encourage them from that all hope is not lost and that they need to take this moment and sacrifice because when your money is small and you still have to pay for class, sometimes you don't really have much left. But they have to look at the bigger picture. And if they look at the bigger picture, they might exceed themselves because for me, a master's was something that other people get and not me. But I had a will. I wanted to come out of the factory and I wanted to be somebody. And here's where I'm at today with a master's and doing another master's. And had I stayed in the factory, I don't think I would have reached this final.
Well, there you had it from Mrs. Weeks about the difficult times she would have had, the stigma associated with people who work at the factory, the unwillingness for people to provide them with opportunities, the also you had persons who feel that persons who work in the factory had no ambition. But she said that the work that they do requires great skill, and many persons who might be academically inclined might not be able to operate at those factories at the speed, the rate at which those persons would have understood what they were doing, and also the quality of the product. You know, don't forget that you have product control, quality control, and they had to perform within those limits in order to get the outputs going from St. to wherever the final destinations were. So I can sense the message that she's trying to send that with this factory closing down, there is an appeal. Use the time wisely. Get one subject at a time. You get two. You get 3, you get 4. You end up with English and maths and 2 other subjects. You could apply for a government work, a teaching job. And then you still have to make sure that you do not overly sacrifice your children just for the sake of the instant gratification of getting the extra money from overtime. Sometimes you just have to let overtime fly by and make sure that your children are okay. You have persons working at those factories. Sometimes they only see the children on weekends. Sometimes it's just on a Sunday, getting ready for church. And I believe if they had to do overtime on Sunday, some of them would have gone as well. Sometimes it is a very delicate equilibrium to establish when you know that you need the money in order to offset many of the expenses that you would have had an obligation to take care of. But at the same time, you have to know how to have it skewed so that you balance the maintenance of your home and your children and still get sufficient to keep up with your bills. But as long as that is comfortable, then you skew towards your children. Make sure that they get that foundation. Make sure they get the foundation. And you heard her say that she made a sacrifice. She pumped every dollar into her children. And after she realized that they would have come to be what they wanted to be, then she started working on herself. It is important to note that she has 2 children, just two girls, and they both are doctors. So you could imagine the major sacrifice that she would have made. Yes, she would have gotten some assistance, supplemental assistance, by way of Cajola. I think that they might have sponsored one up to a particular grade in school, and then TDC would have sponsored the next one. But the eventuality is that both of them are medical doctors. And mommy now has a degree, a master's degree in psychology. She skipped the bachelor's level and went straight to the master's level. So she has a master's degree in psychology, and she's currently doing a master's degree in business administration. And we want to wish her well. You know, these are perfect examples that you like persons to emulate. And you see, she said that she's a product of the factory, or she sees herself as a factory and the children being the product. One thing she said used to be rather hurtful for her was when people went to the fence to have a conversation with somebody on the other side. And when she did her research, she realized that the combination was parent and daughters, or parents and son. And she swore that would not happen to her. She would not have her children come there to talk to her from behind a fence because they can't come on the compound. And, something that really touches you, you have to be determined and not let emotions and hurt get the better of you. But her message is good. I just want to play another section that she spoke about. And this would be something that we can listen to. I'm trying to cue it up here. Could we take a short break so I can cue it up and get it played, please?
If you have a dream, what are you waiting for? The development bank has what you need and more. We aim to build stronger communities. That's why we have so many opportunities. Business loans, student loans, we make a positive difference in your life, in your life, in your life, in your life. Yeah, financing your dream home, we make a positive difference in your life, in your life, in your life, in your life. Yeah. Development Bank of St. Kitts and Nevis. We make a sustained positive difference in your life.
Welcome to the customer support portal, where we have made it easier for you to contact us. It starts with your question, email, a message, phone call, or a search on our website. Our CSP provides prompt and efficient solutions to your problems. We pride ourselves on treating our clients responsibly and ensuring your information is kept safe. Log on to www.skndb.net and send us a ticket or email us at customersupport@skndb.com. You may also call us directly at 869-465-2288, extension 1322 or 954-353-1003.
Fellow citizens, near and far, join Newrish Nital on Sugar Soda 90.3 for Fear No Favor.
Okay, welcome back, and I'm going to play the next little piece from Mrs. Weeks. So she'll explain about her daughters and what she saw at the fences of the factories at the industrial site.
Because I was working in the factory, I realized that one day it dawned on me. I used to see people, other young ladies coming to the fence and, like talking to persons and so. And then I realized that it was mothers talking to their daughters. And I told myself that couldn't happen to me. I had to make sure that my children did not come to the factory because of the situation up there. And so I was a very serious parent when it comes to education. I took education very seriously with them. Whenever they were not doing good, I did not work any overtime. I turn off the overtime and I go home. When their studies picked up, I begin to work overtime again. That's the way I did it because I had to work in the day. But the overtime, was provided me with some extra cash to give them extra stuff to get things that I couldn't really buy out of my normal small payments. So whenever they were not doing their work, I excused myself at 4 o'clock. I went home, insisted that they do what they had to do. And that's the way I managed their education and working in a factory. I actually left the factory when my first daughter was in, I think she was in 5th form and the other one was in 3rd form. And both of them, Luchan actually sponsored the first one and she held her scholarship right up to 5th form when I left. And my other daughter had a scholarship from TDC and she had her scholarship right up until she left CFBC and went to Windsor. But that is another thing again. I realized that true, we work so much overtime in the factory, we sometimes forget our children and we try to give them all of this stuff, but then we lose them psychologically and emotionally because sometimes they're more in tune with the gadgets and the persons who look after them when they leave school than us because I sort of experienced that. But the thing about it is that when we try to spend time with them now and for them to use the time after school to develop academically, then we try to break the poverty cycle. And I think that is what happened to me. I was able to break that cycle by focusing on education, pushing the children. Well, as daughter, I actually found a letter from her when she was in grade 6. And she was writing me a letter to tell me that she's working very hard, but she can't work anymore. And so I need to understand that. And she didn't finish the letter. So I was looking for an old book one time. They were trying to write something, and I found it. And I called her and said, Keisha, I just found that you wrote this letter here to me, but I didn't finish the letter. And so she asked me how the letter finished, and she didn't finish it. I said, Keisha, I want to talk. But the thing about it is that I was home with him. I learned grafting from my first daughter. I learned all kind of medical stuff. When I went to medical school, it's like I tried to encourage them and push them. And so some of these young ladies are going to get jobs all over the hotels and all over the place. That demands that they spend time away from the children. But you have to try to explain to them for me that they need to try to manage their time in such a way that they push their children forward to avoid the poverty cycle. Because when I realized that the people calling other people over the fence were mother and daughter, I decided, Mr. Nital, at that point, that this factory working thing is going to have to stop with me right there. I couldn't extend it to my children. And fortunately for me, I only had two. And perhaps you could share with them that technology has reached um, quite far. And so the extent to which we control our productivity, we control our lives. And so I only had two children, and maybe that's one of boy, they are doctors today because nobody had to go and get a job to help look after anybody.
Okay, there you had it from Mrs. Weeks, indicating the sacrifices that she would have made and the determination she had that her daughters were not going to be dragged into the factory where she spent quite a great deal of time. She bypassed overtime, and whenever the financial pressure would have come to bear, then she went back and do some overtime. And the timing, it was all about timing, getting sufficient to feed the children and see them through, as well as making sure that you spend quality time with them, encouraging them. And you heard her say when her first daughter went to medical school and she was helping now, she learned quite a lot because she just did not leave them there to do the studies on their own. She sat by the tables, by the desk, and tried to encourage them as much as possible. And then the second daughter went to medical school. So both of them, she's one happy parent, and she's still pursuing her studies. And this is somebody who our nation must look towards and put her up there, let people know that she's a prime example of what can happen to any factory worker who puts her mind to performing. Put the priorities straight, align their ducks, and do what they have to do. Do not let overtime just overwhelm you to the extent that you want to get them the gadgets. And she said that we're losing our children to the gadgets. They spend more time on these phones and iPad and all sort of stuff and games and not focusing on the work. And she made sure she kept that in check. We want to really congratulate Mrs. Weeks for being such an excellent mother, being such an excellent mother. Denise Weeks. And these are persons who our leaders should try to hold up. She should have been already, if they didn't take her to the factory to speak to those females who would be out of a job, maybe in short notice, they should try to do that. Because it's all about working on person's mindset, their psyche, to let them know that there is still hope, but then they must recalibrate their preference skills in order to achieve things. It's not always the materialistic approach that would help. You have to work on the minds of the young people. Work on the minds. Some person prefer to dress up the children and make sure they look like a generous offering of bottle of sunshine when they're out in the public's domain. But then nothing between the two ears of substance. That great matter that lies between our two ears. We could never ignore that. We have to try to develop it. It gives you a chance to become independent. It gives you a chance that when you're going to look for a job, once you have the qualifications, you rest on your paper on the table and you walk out until it's time for you to be interviewed instead of having to do most and many things that are not nice in order to secure jobs at times because some employers could be really out of order. And that should be the intention. You might not have had the education, but that doesn't say that you must shy away from even upgrading yourself. Learn a word per week. One word per week would give you 4 words per month. And then you have 12 months, so that's 48 new words in 1 year. After 2 years, that's 96 new words. You could imagine that. We have people in our society who have not learned a new word in over 5, 10, 15, 20 years. And that is rather unfortunate. But how can you carry on conversation without sounding monotonous? You know, where the verbal dexterity? It is simple. One word every 7 days. One word. Some of us vocabulary very, very limited, and sometimes that is where the home structure would break down, because maybe when there's time for a discussion that you could talk it out, you do not have the means by which to take part in the conversation, and you choose other ways that might not be the most productive. Learn one word every 7 days. That would be 4 words per month, 48 words per year, 96 words every 2 years. That's a lot compared to maybe your friend who decide they're not going to do it. Look at your vocabulary, you're able to express yourself. We must encourage people. Don't feel because they work for these transnational corporations that the only thing they can do is maybe use their hands. You have to give them a sense of security via discussions. Via discussion, you must not always look for somebody to represent you in a meeting, because you have to get up and represent yourself. If you have to happen to get in trouble by whatever means, you must be able to talk to your lawyer and make sure you get the best possible representation from that lawyer. You could tell them, well, I don't agree with that, I don't agree with that, I feel you should try this instead, and it could go on and on and on. We must not limit ourselves. Never ever limit yourself. And it's never too late to learn. Come and do something. I knew there was a mature person who said that they wanted to come my classes just to make a vertical climb. A vertical climb to be a little better in English, to better understand modern mathematics. And that person ended up with about 9 subjects and ended up with a good job, just from the mere fact that she just wanted to up her game a little bit. Some of us got too much gossiping time. Gossiping time. And what are we getting from it? Gossip lead to gossip, lead to gossip, lead to gossip, and then eventually fall out along the way. Every bit of gossip is sweet. And that receiver, before he really on that gossip, he would have to ensure that it is sweeter. So however he got to put a spin on it, he or she would do just that in order for it to sound more impressive. And that is where a lot of enmity would come along that relay of gossiping. We can do better than that. We can certainly do much better than that. Our children deserve better than that. That gradient, that slope that we had to experience should not be the same that our children would have to go through. Sometimes people rush to America and feel it is the land of opportunity. It is now becoming very risky being out there. But our hometown, St. Kitts Nevis, can be the land of opportunity too. Instead of giving people fish, teach them how to fish. In other words, provide them with opportunity instead of whatever asset they're asking of you. Yes, you can give them, but still teach them how to create and come about having their own. We want a land of opportunity. We want to transform St. Kitts Nevis into a land of opportunity. Let us take that call. Good evening. Welcome to Fear Now Favor.
I fear you.
What's up? What's up?
I good man. How you do?
I'm all right. A little better now that I'm hearing your voice sounding so powerful.
Well, you know, I always powerful. In spite of the reduced wheels, I'm always powerful.
Because a man is a mind with a body and not a body with a mind. And that is why you'll always exist
That's
and
right.
keep moving forward with upward mobility, brother.
Well, you used to hold police four-wheel transport in the park, right?
Yeah.
um, what you have below the date of the day of the week of the month of the year as topic.
Well, I was talking about a lady who used to work at Cajola,
Yeah.
and she made sacrifices, looked after her daughters at time when overtime would have been granted. She bypassed some of the overtime to make sure that she put sufficient work into her children,
Yeah.
and she looked after them considerably well. Both of them ended up being two doctors, and then she now would have started her education after making sure that her children were taken care of. And she has a master's degree in psychology, and she's doing a second one in business administration.
Okay, let
So
me interject. Let me interject you for a second.
yes,
And she is an ex-worker or employee at one of those factories up in the industrial site.
Yes.
She has a lot of ambition,
yes,
and she is a person to be admired.
and to be held up.
Exactly, because a lot of people who believe well then that they're up in the highest echelon of academical knowledge, they look down on a lot of those people up in the industrial site as what you call outcast, low class, nothing.
Societal debris, as a matter of fact, if you want to take
Right.
it, give it the best term.
Well, she could be a great example for hundreds working up that factory. If she only get the chance to speak, to address them, and show them what they can become if they put their mind to it and they have the willpower. So continue.
And they prioritize properly too. You cannot go for overtime just to buy your son a pair of shoes for $700, or to outfit, get attire for your children to walk 4th Street and be, in your opinion, most attractive.
Mhm.
You understand? Something
Yes.
you have to just bypass the overtime.
That is something similar to working with certain people when the employer do not want to contribute anything from his point to your social security. They say, man, here, see all the money here, and you hear you, give me my money, man, give me all. But they're not looking at tomorrow. What could happen tomorrow?
You're right. Don't pay any social security, just give me all my money.
Hmm.
But then when you're done, you want to benefit from those who would have contributed.
And you put nothing in there.
When you get sick or you get pregnant or whatever happened,
Yes.
you got to go social security for some supplemental help.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not putting in anything. They want all
Right.
short term.
Yes. Give me all now.
Yeah, they're myopic.
Right. Me handful I could go and line with me by them and boy 10 round the base and next week can't work. Natural disaster come here, we can't work, nothing doing. Where you going?
And then you take it out on the government
Yes.
when you ought to have been providing cushion against those unforeseen circumstances.
Mm-hmm. We have some example of that. They broadcast it on a regular basis, when they get a chance, cost the government and cost social security department and saying how social security ain't got the money, they broke and all kind of nonsense with the propaganda. Just trying to see what damage they could do to the government. And people like them, they ain't contributing nothing. But how could you go in a bank, go full out a withdrawal slip and you ain't put money in there?
That's right.
You see what the slip mark? Not borrow, not loan. It mark withdrawal.
Because the laws pertaining to social security would give the authorities permission to invest our money, but invest it wisely. There was some bad investment when it comes to social security.
Oh, yeah.
Awful investment.
Some of them overdose.
Yeah, awful investment with ulterior motive.
Yes, man.
But nobody want to go as far back as that to understand why social security might be struggling a little bit uphill to maintain what it has to maintain.
Well, once this man here got them correct information, or ain't free to reverse, are going right back into the history and bring it forward and make a comparison and see which one is worthwhile listening to. Because I'm not afraid to talk. Because they make some nasty, dirty investment for you. Some big house over there. And who was in charge of them? What they get from them? What social security department get back from them there? From the investment? Nothing. Absolutely nothing but loss. And then now all kind of people now come blaming this and blaming that. Blaming, accusing the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister who have compassion on the whole nation. Not just people over here in number 7. He look over the whole island, the whole nation, and he say, well then, hey, no, this needs to be done, that needs to be done. Let me go and do it. Because he cares about people and not himself. And in spite of that, a lot of them who know it, they still want to cast wrong aspersion on the man. And they know better. But the good Lord above is he make us hear him. Hello, you there?
Yeah, culture, you're right, you know. Because you had persons who owed Social Security a lot of money. You gave them break after break after break, and their condition of payment were not improving at all. But you still try to facilitate them.
Right.
You try to facilitate them by giving them low interest loans sometimes. But what you find happening too is that people don't like to go back because they say, well, done gone.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's like Romy, the hole they put you in is so damn deep that it take you quite a while to come out. It take you just like the health department.
Yeah.
They give us a Romy special, put a killer in a hole so deep that she's fighting her way out. You know?
Yeah.
And it like the jackass who was inside of the hole when they're trying in the dirt, trying to cover that jackass. They didn't realize that every ounce of dirt or pound of dirt, it step up
Yes.
and then it step out.
That's right.
So every ounce of dirt that they try to throw on Bayou and Nisbet, she gonna step up out of a hole that was not created by her, but was created indelibly by the Labour government for 20 years.
Okay.
They had a lot of foolishness going on.
Whole ton
And
of
then
that.
you got gall fresh up and beside your damn self to come now criticize this strides that she's making inside of the health industry. When you put her down in a hole and she had to climb her way out with not even any traction. So the same set of people now come and throw dirt inside there. And as they're trying the dirt, she just step out.
They're so damn stupid. They don't realize once you ain't covered a woman, anybody under the dot them are showing, they're gonna get out.
They shall rise.
Right, because they dot going under the foot and they're coming up inch by inch.
And then that is exactly what is happening. The hole was very, very, very deep.
Yeah.
You had raw sewage going into the Limekeel area. You had raw sewage going into the Irish Town Bay area. When they were paying this gentleman they were giving him a retainer fee to take care of the equipment down there, the wastewater treatment equipment down at Irish Town. And they sent me down there to do an evaluation.
Yeah.
And I went to look for the man and I tell the man, look, when last you maintain the wastewater treatment plant down there in the garden project? He said, no young boy gonna come here to get a conversation with he and all kind of things. That's when I used to work at the Department of Environment as a project officer.
Yeah.
And I said to him, look, I went down there and I examined that plant.
Stick a pin there before I forget the thought.
Yes.
You hear the description he used? No young, Y-O-U-N-G.
Yes.
No young boy gonna come here. That is the mentality. They don't care about the younger people. That's the reason why these jokers, these, what you call them, 2-foot cash band people, headless people, they want to stop all the program that the Prime Minister, the government under the leadership of Dr. Timothy Harris You hear me? Invented to save these younger people from going about and doing negative things and getting themselves in trouble. That's the reason why they come and talking about they're going done with this pap and are going to project. That is the mentality. So you continue with the water treatment thing now.
Yes, I told him, look, I'm telling you, I evaluated down there and that thing hasn't worked for quite a while. As a matter of fact, you might be guilty of accepting money under false pretense because you're not doing what you're supposed to do.
Right.
The effluent going into the Bastia Harbor down in the Irish area was filled with sewage and pathogens. And he called me aside and he apologized and asked me what I can do to assist him. I said, well, I would assist you and we go down there and we do what we had to do. You know, the same little boy who you say can't tell him anything.
Right.
And when we took a sample of the water down there, it was horrible. I said, see here, you say you're maintaining this here over the years. And I could tell him, I told him, look, you've been accepting government money for over 2 years and this plant has not been operational.
That's another trough, man.
Yeah, wasn't operational. That those contributed to the depth of the hole that Aquila had to take care of.
Right.
Up to now, a lot of people don't know. People could born deformed babies as a result of using that water that was going into the Irish roadstead. You understand?
Yes.
And then you want to take it out on the lady about she ain't do this and she ain't do that. She telling you about her projection, the trajectory she's on, and what she would be doing, what she would have made plans to do, and it's in motion. So you have to wait now until it materializes. You got to give her a chance, man.
Look.
Go back in the hole. Go back way down in the hole. Or what she could do is dig out the hole and put them down there and see how they'll come out. Make the hole as deep as the previous administration left it.
Yes.
They don't want to admit that, and we have to be fair to people before we try to crucify them.
Look at you.
But in the stone Christ, so the hell.
Right. Look. It's only one Jesus, you know, but plenty devils. Hundreds of devils. And I just tell people, I do not expect the devil to say anything good about Jesus Christ. Because the nature of the man, the devil, the nature means bad, nothing good. Every move the devil makes, it got to be something destructive. And we have a lot of them here upon 2 foot walking up and on the street. But God rule, and who God bless, not a mortal pan, not okay how much money you got and how much house you got and what you got.
You know, where you find hypocritical culture is that they don't want you to go back.
No.
And bring the comparative analysis forward. However, when the Prime Minister would suggest that he did this and he did that, they want to go all the way back and say Labour provided the platform from which he catapulted. But when things bad, from way back, like in the case of Byron Nisbet, they don't want to go back there. They say we keep on going back and going back and going, but you have to go back.
Definitely.
You have to tell them how damn deep the hole was that she had to fill up.
Right. She admit the hole with just a 6-inch scratch out.
Man, if you go down 2 more inches, you might have made oil on it there, how damn deep the hole was.
And I believe we have oil.
Right.
We have oil. And you know who famous for that? The biggest devil in singing is the trough man. He was getting away with the treasury money every month. And I show him, I break it down and say, brother, you had 2 jobs, which he admitted he had 2 jobs simultaneously. And look at it. The 2 jobs, they are 1.5 miles apart from each other physically, geographically. So how can a human being be in the 2 places the same time on the clock, same day of the week, same week of the month, the same time? Cannot be. You're going to have to abandon one and solve the other one. And that's what he was doing.
And yet the money that was ill-gotten was still added to accumulate to give him a figure to get his benefit from the taxpayers. And that is why that is so hurtful.
It is.
And every time he opens his mouth, he just sort of revived that feeling in people. How could you get money on the false pretense that you were carrying out the work that you were designated to do? Did not do it. Get the money, and that ill-gotten money was still added to help work out your benefit when you should have really been paying back taxpayers.
That's right.
If you had a conscience.
I remember one time when you were hosting a program on a different radio station. He was a guest in there.
Yes, I had him on a guest about 3, 4, 5 times.
Right, and me and Nabu was in his skin like a crab lice. I know the reason why he was that word crab lice.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard you ask him, name 5 things that he benefited from.
Can name one.
I really bad.
Can name one.
Okay, you remember?
But could name everything that he perceived. You see, when somebody would have protected you after what could have been labeled a felony, and felony, they don't have any statute or limitation. So at any juncture, if anybody wants to go after that and recuperate the taxpayers' money, they have a chance to do it as well. Maybe a collective lawsuit. Anyhow, he can't say anything good.
No.
Because anytime he got to say anything good, he must have it injected with a but. Yes, but. We got kind of but in society. A lady just is lovely going across the street. Everything seemingly perfect. But somebody would say, boy, nice, but she should have got on a brown pair shoe instead of a black. Or they should have just a centimeter too high, a millimeter. It's everything but. We have a but in society. Anything where people supposed to get credit, they always introduce this but to make sure that they dilute it as much as they can. And that we must be happy for people.
That's right.
The man do good, say he do good.
Right. Doesn't matter, man, if somebody, that's right, if somebody is doing good, give them the credit, man. It belongs to them. Because when you don't come and you have done well, you want people to give you your credit too.
We an edge. We an financial edge. Can't sit down properly. Last December, everybody wanted a double salary. Okay. Everybody. When the sister island declared they don't have the means of doing it, and on a wage program, one of the ministers said to a caller that cannot happen, and the fellow said, well, I can't get the tires them then. And Minister Evelyn must be responded in a way that you just can't afford it. So that was a closed situation on Nevis. And then came the astute politicians and said, look, let us give the double because it would act as stimulus for the entire economy. Once you give people money, they would spend.
That's vision.
It would spend.
That's right.
And it would trickle down where it has to be trickled down. It could provide employment because people buying more. More people coming into your store, so you need the extra schoolboy or schoolgirl for that period of time. The December work break.
Yep.
But people want to be ungrateful. I tell people don't accept it.
Yes.
We can't afford it, don't accept it. But they're still accepting it.
Oh.
They're still accepting it. And the salary bigger than everybody else's.
Okay, and some of them ain't accepting double, they accepted
quadruple.
Oh, and then you say, well, okay, let me take 2 and give it to this institution and give 1 to this another institution. Nothing. You know where they put it? In the fab. You know the fab? The little pocket up by your hip. Right up under the belt so nobody could see your mouth up there. Once you shove it down in there, nobody know you.
I think we just around here just have to start give credit where credit is due. If you're supporting whoever you're supporting, and I say of all 3 prime ministers we have had, that Timothy Harris is the best by far, why should that be a problem to you?
Right.
You come and say whoever you feel was the best, that's okay, you wouldn't have any problem with me. But as far as I see from my analysis, Timothy Harris was the best prime minister we would have ever had. Somebody might come later.
Yeah.
But from those who we have had, the 3 of them, I crown him the best of the 3.
I hear one of them last night. He's so disrespectful to the entire listening audience. that he come calling Dr. Timothy Harris. What? He used to be our ex-prime minister, and he is in the checkout lounge.
Yeah.
Well, he is in the checkout lounge. He been checked out by the same person who he say is in the checkout lounge. And all of that is why you are bothering him because all of them voice is on record saying how Dr. Harris is the best thing ever happened to the Federation, how the man is so good and nice, and every one of them speak well. But no, because the rug rise up, and we see what they got under the rug hiding. They want now to crucify Dr. Harris to see if they could move him from there, and they take over, that they could cover back up the thing them what they had under the rug. But the rug done gone.
But the reality is this: if Tim did just say, "Here, go ahead with it, go on with it," the country would not have moved an iota forward, and they know that. The conscience would tell them that, because I'll tell you the truth: when they formed this whatever agreement and arrangement they had, Charleston Accord, had any one of them been able to run the country, they would have never given it to Tim. Never. They don't work out in their mind that it take them about 10 years before they could learn from him. And by that time, they'll be ready. But whatever caused them to lose control of themselves and spiral out of control after 5 years, maybe they feel like they learned a lot within the 5 years and they're ready.
Yeah,
But the reality, even at that juncture, none of them wanted to take it. You heard Sean talking about the asking Hamilton if he'll take it. You hear Lindsay name call. You hear Sean name call. You hear Janelle name call. You hear Matt name call. If all of them names calling, if they had only one who was absolutely certain that they can take it, they would have taken it from him long time. They wouldn't have given him in the first place. So it was a calculated move to make him the prime minister for as long as it would take them to learn.
Right.
And that's it.
And they fail to publicly admit to the world listening audience that he was the fittest man for that position. And that's why all of them give in to him and mark his book correct without any objection.
But you know how they had hurting them for them 5 years.
What?
Because it was a head move rather than a heart move. They realized that none of us ready. Even though the man got one seat, we just have to let him be. Because he one seat is equivalent to all of us added together. Can come up to his mental acuity and his experience. And his shrewdness with respect to leadership qualities. And they walk out, they had a head move and they said, well, bother the man stayed here. Family, friends, and so they were not happy. But they said, let us absorb him and learn from him for the 5 years. And after 5, they thought that they would have learned well, only to realize by now we're fooling ourselves. We have not learned well. So they started to create some problems. And they walk out, look, just give us 31st of December 2023. Just give us. Can't happen like that.
No, sir.
You ain't just things going so well and you just want it to be given to you. But come back to the people and the people they say whether or not you're capable of doing it. Now you get a chance to do it and you see whether or not they will elect you. I don't see this country going anywhere right now unless we have the Honorable Timothy Harris for another 5 years.
That's right. And no, if they had a clean heart and a clear conscience, they would have tell the world exactly the truth. Because none of the advisors who supposed to be advising them the right way, now none of them who were taking advice could stand up and say, they heard Dr. Timothy Harris said out of his mouth that he want 3 terms. He never. NEVER.
Well, maybe there was a spirit that was haunting them, telling them, look, the guy got to stay there for a 3rd term. Because none are you ready.
Right. And they heard the appreciation from the people who absorb the performance of the man. The man is he was born to do what he's doing. And so they're accusing him, saying, but he said he wants 3 terms. And when the lady who do not live here, she lives in the diaspora to St. Kitts and Nevis. When she addressed his convention, She absorbed the performance of the man. That's the reason why she said what she said. And then also hypocritical and crooked and bunch of jackasses
But when she suggested that term, there were many in the population saying 4. Many were saying a 4th term. So if they get stuck on third, they weren't listening properly. Many persons were still echoing that sentiment and adding on a year on it.
Exactly. And now they should be ashamed of themselves to see, well, then some of them call themselves bright, academically educated. And they know technology has advanced so great and far now that look how many things you could stay where you be and make contact with people all around the world.
They ain't even come back to the voters who put them there. They ain't even come back to the employers to apologize and say, yes, you send us here for 5 and we cut it foolishly, cut it short to 23 months or whatever. Not even an apology, so they don't count the voters.
That's right.
They're pointing a finger at the Honorable Timothy Harris. Okay, do that, but what about coming back to your voters and explaining to them why you messed up?
Right.
You gave your mandate for 5 years and your job short. Why? Were there no other alternatives, or you just about you? What about the selflessness that you portrayed before? Why selfishness override? Why selflessness was overridden by selfishness? Come and explain to the people. Just don't come back and ask people to vote. I vote you, give you a chance for 5 years. You mess up and then you come back and tell me about give me 5 years. How that gonna happen? I mean, you're taking people to be fools.
They do not respect people. And one of them come down, jumping up, going on like a kangaroo, trying to see if he could embarrass the prime minister and everybody who were there.
And amongst the blind, the one-eyed man is king, you hear?
Oh yeah.
Amongst the blind, the one-eyed man is king.
So if you see a one-eyed man walking up and down the street all day, showing his teeth, grinning, laughing, or whatever, tell yourself the whole island blind.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the other one now, the other Sika H. Sika H. That's 3-syllable word. It means the same thing like a jackass.
Mm-hmm.
He know before he come on now and address the audience and what do you call it? Diminish those dirty remarks that was made by the first presentator. No, he come add on it. Throw salt and pepper in wound. And then come telling people, come back. Or you come back or come back. If you got a dog, the dog is yours. You raise it from a pup to a big dog. And when the dog reaches a certain age, the dog just stray away by the neighbor yard and stay over there. He ain't coming back in the yard. You know why? He gets better treatment over there.
I don't give the impression that only 2 homes, either Labour or PAM. It must be Labour or PAM after another alternatives are there.
Right.
How you going to blame people for the choice they made and you don't know the options they had? Now you have 3 options. And you go over, you say you can't be calling back home anybody.
No.
You cannot be calling back home anybody. One of the strongest supporters of the PAM party would have redefined that acronym that they have, People's Action Movement, and call them people after money.
I know him. That's my partner.
Yeah, but I put a little better decoration on it. I call them PAFM.
That's right.
You know, they say PAM, I say PAFM, PAFM. But I cannot on the radio say what the F stand for.
Right.
But people with wisdom, sagacity, and the sagacious ones would know what PAFM means. So it's no longer any PAM, it's PAFM. When you see them, just remind them, PAFM. Because the days of PAM gone. PAM now has a different acronym. PAFM. So we had to have a circuit breaker. And the circuit breaker gone long. And this is a totally different, well, they can't say PAM. This is a totally different PAFM.
Look, let me tell you something, brother. They have messed up themselves so badly that they're trying to put, rest aside to climb up on a 90-degree greasy pole. Rest aside, knock about. How they gonna get up there?
Vertical pole.
Oh yeah.
So you got grease and gravity acting against them. You know, I think Pam got in a lot of bright people, but they have a small bit of it who just don't care. Give me everything. Do it this way, do it that way. But they don't realize that the People's Labour Party, they welcome everybody. You got to think it's Nevis Labour Party. It's basically for Labour people. If those two parties were to unite, I mean, Pam Berry for another 25 years.
They're gonna have to build a two more with them.
They're buried for almost another 25 years.
And I just look.
They had so much promise. In 2010, they had great promise. The then leader messed up.
Yeah.
Then they had great promise going forward based on the trajectory. Whether Tim wanted 3 years or 4 years, the eventuality is that John will be the next one. Regardless of when, just be patient.
That's right.
And had he exuded patience, then things would have just come sweet. And that unity construct, my Labour would have been buried for the next 20 years. But instead, it seems as if it's the reverse.
Well, I'm going to give somebody else a chance and then I'm going to see if I get back in again, you know.
Yeah, okay, no problem. But we got to talk in twos, though.
Yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yes, we got to talk in twos. But
right.
the perfume.
Yeah, oh yeah. I ain't leaving out that.
You could pronounce that?
Yeah, yeah.
You could say perfume?
Yeah, perfume.
Right. We know what the acronym means. Okay,
that,
good.
That is men group language.
Yes.
Okay,
take care.
All right.
Let us take a break, acknowledge our sponsor, and come back.
If you have a dream, what are you waiting for? The Development Bank has what you need and more. We aim to build stronger communities. That's why we have so many opportunities. Business loans, student loans, we make a positive difference in your life, in your life, in your life, in your life.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to Fear in Our Favor.
Good night, Nital. Good night.
Good night, how you doing? I want you to do something for me. I don't usually hold classes on the radio, hold them face to face. Can you say perfume? Perfume. P-A-F-M, perfume.
Perfume.
Okay, make that a part of your vocabulary. Go ahead.
Okay.
You might got to call culture to get some lessons as to the meaning, eh? But go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I just reach in now.
Okay.
I have to know it, but when my friend got a call line with her, you know, cool out, you know.
Which one of those friends? There's about 12 of them you have.
My friend, she's my real friend, my main friend.
So you got one main friend.
She got a business place, so I go buy her chill out when I ready.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Nice to have a close friend.
Yeah. But in Italy,
Yes.
let me tell you something, right? Pam had an golden opportunity to run this country until whenever the people get fed up with them after whatever the agreement they make with Dr. Harris and the PLP. But when you want to take advice from different people, and your farmers are a group, a body, the farmers are body, a unity. And then afterwards now, you gonna get upset because you hear them say, here say, and all kind of say, and different radio talk show. And the media kill family. I could tell you the media kill them. Because if Sean as the leader from us focusing on he supports us there. And support people who support him and do whatever they do. He would not be in the situation or he did. But you see, when the people who behind you, 100% really behind you, then you can take the bullet, then you can take the oil goat, then you can whatever happened to them, and they're behind you. Because I'm talking about 2015 to 14, 2014, 15. When people like me and adults was standing up for Pam, even before they joined the college and the Unity College and joined with Dr. Harris. Or he was the main Canton Licky Board and Richard Keynes and my name Mary Green and she mistake now. Some of them are Sunday time we got on where the government is part of the pray. God we Bible now we hand so with Washington article too. So we going on the wars of Jericho. And people like me who do so much. But little I ignore. Little I'm going to tell you again and I believe I say it and I say it again. When the unity government wins, and the Prime Minister went into PAM headquarters and make a presentation, he big up me, he big up Jamdong, he big up culture, he big up all of us who caused this unity thing to far. And, you know.
But it seems as if you are there in the christening.
Eh?
That was the christening.
Yeah.
But before they made them move there, did they come back to you? Anybody approach you and say, this is what we're going to do, what you think about it? Or they didn't value your contribution at that point?
Little the leader from don't speak to me from since they win 2015. He come like he don't like me. This man don't speak to me at all. I had a cancer one time, I went to the cancer and how the man talked to me by almost crying. I put a girlfriend, a friend of mine and I talk to him. And the friend said, I tell him, no, it's true, I'm telling you. And when you tell, by how I get from the guy, right? That from that till now, if the guy come around anyway and haven't got anything, like going to any like with the Prime Minister or something and he there and wherever and I even give it a church meeting and anything, church service, he will just pass me through. He don't want to say nothing.
But you're still calling the name wrong, you're still saying Pam. It is Parfum.
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 Oh, that's the meaning, okay.
P-A-F-M.
Parfum.
Call culture later and he'll explain the meaning of the acronym.
But let me tell you something.
So you said they had a golden opportunity.
They had a golden opportunity.
Am I hearing that in the adult language they have now gone to a golden shower? The golden opportunity has turned into a golden shower?
A golden, but I don't
You
know.
might not be familiar with those terms, but somebody will explain to you that the golden opportunity has turned into a golden shower.
I don't hear about a golden shower, but
somebody gonna explain it to you. Have patience.
Yeah.
That is what learning about. But continue.
Yeah, so but I got a little with when them guys, you know, is them put themselves for them. And let me tell you something. A lot of people in this country who is to support them disappointed, real disappointed. It was a star while I come out and talk. Some of them don't want to nothing. Some of them ain't want to nothing. Shame. Because let me tell you something, right? What Dr. House has done with the PLP to this country when he won winning his seat is just like Ukraine win the war in Russia. It's just like Ukraine win the war in Russia.
Against Russia.
I mean against Russia, yeah, against Russia. It's just like that. You see what was going on? Everybody see what was going on. This man come in, join with Pam and CCM and whatever, they walk out, wherever they walk out with them and whatever. But you see, you are the God who is ugly. And the Father going the Father going to spell this thing around. The Father going to spell this thing around, you know. Because let me tell you something, this is the next divine intervention, you know. This is the next divine intervention with Dr. Harris, you know. In government. Because we know that how we do get out from Douglas, how we do to get out from Douglas. And now join with family. Let's say they want to use him, then they just use him because he might go and take that time and that they could have did this, they could have did that, they could have did that. He could have been the prime minister because only he won in a seat. But the sacrifice man make, look the sacrifice he made.
But he never saying it with a clear conscience because he know none of them was ready. It was a hard decision to let him be the prime minister because nobody else was ready to take on that. The mental acuity, the hybridization of mental acuity and experience, it was lacking in all the others. So they use a head decision and they said they're going to put him. And they're going to take 2 years in order for them to reach up to that level. I mean, 2 terms for them to reach up to that level. But unfortunately, they couldn't wait. They became not eager, but they became anxious because there was some undercurrents.
Yeah, you know, the coach mentality is strong. And he ain't back down. He ain't back down. He ain't give up. He's a real politician. And he's a real people's person. And a real leader. Down-to-earth leader. Concerned about people. If Dr. House wasn't concerned about people, so they say, man, the government, man never go where you Learn where you going. Look where you sacrifice this. He said, if I perish, let me perish. If I perish, let me perish. You understand? And when you enjoy that, so what you want him to give up your stuff? He can't give up your stuff. He can't give up. Listen, even if the election come and we need him 3 seats, we know that PLP strong and PLP will continue. Because PLP, listen to PLP now, they're not going to listen. PLP not going to done. If Dr. loses this election, right? PLP loses this election, PLP not done, you know.
But the party getting stronger and stronger.
Because he grooming others around him.
Unlike some other parties, they're not certain as to who the supporters are. Because they're picking and choosing. PLP welcomes everybody.
Everybody.
You know what is rather doubtful? I have a cousin, a very intelligent cousin, by the name of Azad Gums, from the Powell side of the family. They had elections. They had elections for deputy chair, I believe. And he went in and whatever conversation they had inside a day. They're telling him that he ain't a Pam. And this is a man who's going from door to door in number 4 to make sure that Grant got in. And he and the prime minister wasn't for the 2 of them, Grant would not have been in.
Yeah.
And they tell Azad that he's not a Pam. And his father got up and said, well, if he ain't a Pam, what the minister be doing in there? He was responsible for the minister to be re-elected. He just didn't want to add on the part along with Timothy Harris. Well, if you could tell a young man like that, who had aspiration to take over from Grant down in 4, that he ain't no Pam, and the most he could do it, nobody who would dress up. So they envy somebody who dresses well. So when you talk about the leader, I will ask you, who is the leader of PAM? Because they got people leader and they got leader in reality, who the family and friends them prefer. So I was going to ask you, which one of the leader you spoke with?
But then you can look at the guy Valenti.
Huh?
Look what they did Valenti.
Well, if they could tell Azad Gum that he ain't a Pam, you could imagine. Maybe they just wait until the right time, opportune moment to tell Sean that he ain't a Pam either.
But then listen to me. Valentine Lindsay, me no hear Pam. Me no hear Star Wall Pam. I know the guy was straight post and everything. And they try him down just like go. And bring a man who don't lose voice.
Nobody not more doors than Azad in number 4 to help out the minister. And for them to say to him that he ain't a Pam, and his father had to get up and defend him and say if he ain't a Pam, why he did so much work to get the minister. So you can't read Parfum, you can't read them.
You give me news because if you cut Hazard gum, father and mother, you find him in the blood. You find him in the blood.
But for you to tell somebody that after they have worked so hard, that is ingratitude. And that is why the previous the PAM party, there was a circuit breaker already. This is the new PAM. You call them Parfum. Before that you had PAM, now we have Parfum.
Yeah.
I see people messaging me guessing what Parfum mean, but they call culture.
Let me tell you something, right? The leader of PAM, he ain't have no good attitude towards people.
You who?
I get the leader for PAM.
But you keep saying that who is the leader for PAM?
The leader for PAM. Listen, the leader for PAM. So call the leader for PAM then. He ain't got no good attitude towards people.
You might be surprised that the people at the top and in the corner will tell you he's not a PAM.
I know what you mean then. So that's no he decided himself then. People decided.
You could formulate your inferences, you're free to do that. But when you have a set of people wanting, if they could tell Azad Gums, the Powell family, that he is not a PAM, you could imagine what else they're waiting to tell other people.
Well, that's why we made the politics from 1994 to 2015. That's why Mr. Politics the way we know. I'm a PLP.
You're strong PLP.
I pay in my party. From since I joined PLP, I paid my membership. Just about my membership card. I pay my membership card. I pay my membership card, and I'm going to work with PLP. With the doctor, how it's done.
But you're one out of several thousand, you know.
I said, I'm going to work with this now. I work with this party.
A lot of persons don't declare what they are doing. You just have to do it with a sense of conviction. You might have one or two persons who try to intimidate you, but you got to hold strong.
I don't care how the course word. People use me to become supporting them. Hey, you know, the Labour supporters, you know, you know, Timothy Boyowa, he's your Boyowa. I said, this is my country, and Timothy, I'm thinking, you know, and whoever in PLP, farm PLP, if I'm thinking that kitchen all of us, you know, and every man got a right to make a choice where he want to be, you know. You understand?
You got to respect that.
And I respect Dr. Harris, and people listen to me. I respect that Dr. Harris don't look down on the poor, the ordinary people. He opened opportunity, any little thing. Dr. Harris opened the opportunity for the ordinary man.
He came out the belly of poverty.
Up to the village, I was doing some campaigning, and I talking to them, the young men up there, talking to them, the young footballers, every night, I between them talking to them. Because I telling them, I don't forget where your brother gone, your sister gone, your nephew gone, your niece gone, and the sacrifice Dr. Harris made to get out from Dr. Douglas to secure this country, to secure our young people. You understand? I tell them I had 3 family members die, shut down. 3 family members, I'm on you, 3 nephews. What's going on? And I believe Dr. Harris and his PLP has made a great move to come with a third party. To do whether they come what time or not, they're talking about 3 term and 2 term or whatever. Right? Leadership matters. And anybody who leading and they're doing well, where you gonna put them down for? Do something for.
This is a bird in the hand, what two in the bush. But right now, a bird in the hand, what every bird in the damn forest.
Oh.
The bird in the hand, in other words, what you are certain of, you don't give it up for what might be. Can't take that chance. That is too risky. We have to do risk management and draw our inferences and lead to conclusions that a bird in the hand is worth every bird in the damn forest.
Anyway, this is going to give somebody a chance.
Yes.
Maybe Alex or somebody might want to call in.
Yes, okay.
Pafum.
Parfum. No, you're saying P-A-F-M. Parfum.
Pafum, okay.
Parfum. Right. Call culture, let me explain it to you.
Pafum, yeah. Pafum,
Okay.
Pafum. Yeah.
Take care. Let us take a break, acknowledge our sponsor, and come back.
If you have a dream, what are you waiting for? The Development Bank has what you need and more. We aim to build stronger communities. That's why we have so many opportunities. Business loans, student loans, we make a positive difference in your life, in your life, in your life, in your life. Yeah, financing your dream home, we make a positive difference in your life, in your life, in your life, in your life. Yeah. Development Bank of St. Kitts and Nevis. We make a sustained positive difference in your life.
Welcome to the customer support portal, where we have made it easier for you to contact us. It starts with your question, email, a message, phone call, or a search on our website. Our CSP provides prompt and efficient solutions to your problems. We pride ourselves on treating our clients responsibly and ensuring your information is kept safe. Log on to www.skndp.net and send us a ticket or email us at customersupport@skndp.com. You may also call us directly at 869-465-2288, extension 1322, or 954-353-1003.
Fellow citizens, near and far, join Newrish Nital on Sugar Soda 90.3 for Fear Nor Favor.
Where is one? Where is the dancer man? No runner come out for war.
Tune in to 90.3 on your FM dial. Log on to sugarcityfmsankits.com or download Simple Radio app from the Google Play Store. And join Newrish Nital every Thursday night from 8 to 10 p.m.
Welcome back to Fear Nor Favor. We have a caller. Good evening. Welcome to Fear Nor Favor.
Well, me ain't fear nothing, you know.
Parfum.
Pafum.
Parfum.
Just like spasm.
Yeah, parfum.
Politics.
Instead of SM is FM.
Right. Politics, you need to go powerful school. Well,
You need to go adult school.
That's right.
This is adult language.
You see, politics when we stop learning sums, he went with maths.
Yes.
No, I understand a good friend of mine tell me this evening that the biggest crazy joke up on radio, said this morning on the radio, he wants to get culture number. Well, I'm going to give him the number now. And who here they could pass it on to him? My number is 480-111-110.
That sounds like parfum.
That's what it is. Parfum. Well, Nital,
Yes,
hear
sir.
this. By themselves, they could not win the constituency. By themselves, they never have the ability. So they sent to call Dr. Harris to come and help them sort out this So scatter the donkey with the ungrateful advisory. Parfum.
Right. And amongst the blind, the one eye man is king.
Definitely.
Right.
He walked in all the streets, them laughing, grinning.
That's all we had to say. Amongst the blind, the one eye man is king.
Right. You couldn't come with a better definition for the word. Put in another letter in there. Rather than 3, make it 4.
Yes.
That's what they are.
That era finished.
Exactly.
The era of the People Action Movement is finished. It is now parfum.
No, look at it. Look at it. If Dr. Harris wasn't born to lead and have compassion on the poor and the rich and the middle, you think Dr. Harris would have gone certain villages in number 6, go fix roof and concern about the people, the well-being? I heard a man on the radio said in Union Ground, when he led them in the house, he could see plane passing over the roof. And he all the window and door them shut in.
No, he doesn't even know when we're falling.
Exactly.
He didn't even get a galvanized roofing.
Right.
You get that kind of thing what can't tell you when we're coming. I don't want that on my roof. I want to hear the galvanized beating.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing sweeter than sleep at that time.
Because that's a sleeping therapy.
That's right. Very therapeutical and soothing.
And then, it have some people. The Prime Minister, with the statement that he made, if I perish, I perish. He gonna be guided by his conscience. And which he did. And he got some people, call themselves unity when it was. They get a job to do the work to help the people them. They still turn around and give the people them Barabbas. And then because now, whosoever in the government find out what they were doing and they discipline them, they go on the other side of the wave of abuse. Say about Dr. Harris saying this and he and that. But because the man they ain't standing up for them stupidness with them. Be fair. You get a job to do something to help the people them. The less fortunate to put a roof on your house. And you go cheap the people them. And he must smile with that. No, man, no. Anybody with a clean heart and a clear conscience ain't gonna smile with them things. I always hear, let your conscience dictate for you.
Let your conscience be your guide.
That's right. That's right. Anyway, time gone. Mr. Puffin, call me Mr. Puffin. Let me explain it. What it is? Puffin.
Puffin. P-A-F-M.
Yo, you got to sound the F.
Yeah, that's where the emphasis is. So you got to slow down.
Mm-hmm.
The speed bump. Puffin.
Right, Puffin ain't mean food. all the people who went in fourth standard, they know what I mean.
That's adult language. Eh? Remember, we got some little children listening to the show.
That's right. That's why you cannot pronounce them publicly.
So you got to do it in tete-a-tete.
Yeah.
Mean head to head, one-on-one.
Yeah, but you put the park the best.
Huh?
You put the park the best in a lap and page.
Yeah, we used to add on them little things at the end to chaff people, but that's the beginning you have to take.
Exactly.
You could put on anything at the end and it sound like a foreign language. But once you focus, just take the first part.
Right.
The last part is just decoration.
Exactly.
Just decoration.
Yeah, anyway, good night.
Okay, take care.
All the best, eh?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, we need to play a song because this is a democratic country and we should not stop. Let me say something before I play this song. I saw a video of a young man, and obviously he's upset. We have a caller. We missed that. We miss it. He's upset because apparently a program host calls up the name of the former Prime Minister, Dr. Douglas. And he lost control a little bit. our leaders, when we recognize who persons are and we know their affiliations, and we see videos of that nature, somebody should take the initiative and have a conversation with the young man, because that is not the pathway we want for our elections. It is a democratic country. Even because I said that of the Chief Prime Minister, Dr. Harris, is the best. People got issue, but that is okay. It is a democratic country. But if you realize one of your supporters would be insinuating violence, not really insinuating, expressed violence, we as leaders, those as leaders, them as leaders, should come out and have a conversation, even come public and make an apology on behalf of the overall supporters, that that doesn't represent us, but we cannot control everybody. Come out and say that. Because sometimes if you remain silent when these things come into the public domain, it would not speak nicely of the overall effort of those who are not getting involved in those sort of utterances. We have to be mindful. We have to control people who are canvassing on our behalf. We have to control our supporters. When the Morton dogs them were poisoned, I was really mad at that, because I know of children who would have lost pet dogs or dogs in general, and it took them quite a while. Sometimes those persons might experience post-traumatic stress disorder. They become depressed. You don't know the connection that that animal would have had with members of the family. And I shall not support those sort of nonsense. We got to let us have our verbal wars, but don't take it beyond that. Let us accept that call. Good evening. Welcome to Fear in Our Favor.
Me tell her how I think the same thing to her. Because what goes to one could go to the next. Because you got some people in this country that take this political thing to a height. That same gentleman, I think was 2010. I get some check name votes from him. Because I was supporting the people at the moment at the time. And talking about the ills that were dug in the country, and, talking the political rights, and, and he chucked me off. The same gentleman chucked me off, and some, things for it all, call up for the do anything. But what happened? I went to the station and I reported. And I tell the police, if anything like happen like that again, when I come, well, the ambulance will get to come, and the ambulance will get to come for somebody.
But don't take the line. No, don't take the line to your hands.
No, that's what I tell you. That's in 2010. And because you got some people, you look like they support the leader. They will do anything for the leader. And that is bad. That is bad.
But sometimes nobody send them, Sometimes they take it upon themselves.
I know that. Listen, let me start this because I know where you're coming from. I believe that what you're saying is right. That whosoever leader of the party, or whosoever, whether you is a senior person in the party, and you see this thing happen, go out and reach out to these people. No. We don't allow that. We don't allow that to happen. Every man got a democratic right to talk and say what they want to say. As long as they touch you, I hit you.
No, you're right. Jopant has the right to say what he has to say, what he wants to say. And in the event that he crosses the line, whoever the appropriate person is, will take whatever legal action they want to take, but you cannot stop somebody. If you calculate the risk of saying something and you decide that you're going to take the risk, you got to also make up your mind to suffer the consequences.
Yeah.
And I think that he's becoming more and more experienced at what he's doing. and he's rather mindful of the things that he can say and he ought not to say. There's still certain things that he said that people do not like. You understand? But just
But
morals different to being legal. If it
but
is
it tell you,
legal for him to say what he
before I want to ask a question. You believe that guy good in his brain?
if you leave what?
Is that the same guy? You believe he good in his brain? You believe there's really something mentally wrong with him?
I'm not Jesus, and something you don't know what operating within someone's mind. But I know that maybe some of the utterances ought not to have been made. Sometimes you have people entertaining those things on the inside, and there's no difference between those who are entertaining on the inside and those who are expressing it on the outside. So everybody, took Mon and Sam, should learn some coping skills. Let people say what they want to say. Don't intimidate people. Don't threaten them with violence. It doesn't make sense because things will spiral out of control.
Yeah, me tell you now.
Yeah.
And you know some people, right? Because they is supporting that person. Wait, okay, Mr. Douglas, who do you want to defend him? Because maybe that the person was them people were supporting the person, they're supporting labor there. And see the guy going out with the attitude and doing what they do. You know, they will telling me wrong. They will never tell me wrong. They'll support him. They'll pick him up. They'll support him and boost him up. You're right.
But I know the leader of the Labour Party. He is my very good friend, and he would never endorse anything like that. And that is why I'm appealing to him that he realizes who the guy is. Just have a short conversation with him.
Yeah, man,
Sometimes those persons are difficult to control, but you don't want them to cause your party to be painted with a broad brush. That would be most unfair. But at the same time, don't sit silently and do not say anything about it.
Yeah, it's anyone. You got a lot of supporters, even women. Women, they get in attitude and views, they cuss you. They tell you all kind of things. They tell you, inside out. And, me as a politician, to represent a constituency or whatever, and I see anybody going on for me or supporting me, I tell them, no, it's not that ain't the way it's supposed to be.
They have some people who behave in a parallel fashion, and they might be targeting A. B might be targeting A, and at the end of the day, B and A just hug up and laugh over it. But some people become overwhelmed with the passion and lose control. And that is what we do not want. You must be in control of your faculties as well. So that when you go in areas that you might be triggered off, you don't do things that you would regret. And that is why I'm saying if you have it embedded in that person as early as possible, let him know that is not the way to go. We will not be supporting that. It can go a long way if they take that action.
Let tell you that I want to talk. And I get a young lady. Right? That says, Missy looking nice, man. You looking good. You're picking up yourself. She said, Missy, when you say things, you got a hand shot. And you got your shoes orange. I said, what's something wrong with it? I said, your boy is a beautiful lady. Where you go? She tell me, do not say nothing to she. Because you look like you're a PLC. And me is a stinking labor. You know who my father be? She got them to my father. I'm my grandfather. I said, Lord, listen. Mentally, your friend. Mentally, good. Mentally, a competition for anyway, we criticize one another. Or mentally, one another. Anyway, we have a drink together and eat together and do whatever together. So don't even go down where we go. Say, me the labor. So somebody say, I hear Mr. Politician say, oh, I hear how many ways I do labor. And she going on. And but then you tell you, I'm going to quiet down. I'm going to quiet down.
Because that's coping skills. If I back in Pam my sister back in labor, if you hit my sister, you gotta hit me too. Ellie Matt sing that in a song.
Yeah.
Telling you just learn to respect other person's position.
Yeah, man.
What you should do is take your time and try to pull them over on your side. I feel if I talk to 10 persons, I should be able to pull over at least 3 to support PLP if I'm supporting PLP. Another supporter of PAM to feel like they could pull over one. That time then I feel like I could pull over all on the Prime Minister's side. So you gotta master that skill in winning over people to take them to your home, your political home. And nobody should envy you for that. Nobody should want to get after you for that.
No, 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 no.
Unless we're just narrow minded and weak.
You know something to talk, even the 2015 election. It was why something gonna happen, why looking on tickets or something gonna happen, this gonna happen. It's that terrible gonna happen because this not let me tell you something, right? I live in this country all the time and going through election after election. Whether they cheat or not. We had one situation of 1993. And I do not believe the people supposed to reach in the final way. Over politics over nothing. We're too small for that. We're too small for that.
I never supported that kind of reasoning. Element they put in the song, no way in politics, 5 could be more than 6. But if I have 5 and you have the other 6 out there not combining together, 5 got to be more than the individual fractions over on the other side. That is the greatest fraction you have amongst the fractions. And that's how the reasoning was destined to cause confusion. It's not 5 against 6, it was 5 against 2, 5 against 3, 5 against 1. You take them individually and none of them come up to more than 5. But people do what they want to do because they put a spin on what they have to put a spin on, and they encourage people to become.
Okay, but before I go, let me give a little tune there. Nobody believe it could ever be a unity government crumble so easily by a massive bunch of greedy politicians. They want to force and who gets to the second. I said the young people, they want to suffer young people in this country when Dr. Harris done already do his work. I said they better be careful because this country must go on. By Dr. Harris, we want PLP. We want it right now. PLP is gonna save this country. Douglas got to do what he got to do, and this country is surviving under PLP. We want PLP. This country must survive.
We want freedom. We want human rights. That's the melody you're using, right? Short.
Yeah, you are human rights.
Yes.
They don't turn with themselves. Because automatically they turn with themselves, When they talk about minority movement, and them turn with themselves, automatically they turn with themselves.
You see why this election is why this election is so painful for a lot of kidney divisions?
Yeah.
We take a while to recuperate from election. Election will be something that is very vigorous. And people take liberty with people. We need a cool off period. We have not even cooled off as yet. And we're into a next one. That is why so many persons are hurting. And those who caused that to happen should be taken on a guilt trip. People are still hurting. They have not recovered from the last election as yet.
People should have done that.
Election will take a lot out of people. And especially when it is your own who gave you a mandate of 5 years to serve, and you're only going to serve a year and a piece. That is disrespectful. Utter disrespect.
Yeah, let me go next to them. I think it was Sunday night. I was talking to a farmer colleague. And I was telling him, he was asking about the situation and so on. We don't engage one another. He said, boy, in the constituency there, a young man come to me and he said, he will give me support. And I wait, you know what the guy said? Why you tell him? Why you know we coming in election, Election in the next 5 years now. Election in the next 5 years. But I don't even know what to tell you. I don't even know what to tell you. It's afterwards they sit down and they really have a conversation with the
I have a classic to share with you, just 2 seconds.
Yes.
A lady called me from now in number 4, very prominent lady. And she told me that Mr. Grant came canvassing at her door. And she told him to go for Timothy because it was Timothy who brought him the last time.
I like that.
Go back for Timothy. It's Tim who brought you the last time. You see? Some people just not letting go. The rancor and thing by some, they're dealing with it with euphemism. And that was very tactful for her to tell him, the Prime Minister brought you the last time, so you go back for him this time as well.
Before go, the last thing I'm going to say, that ungratefulness is what and witchcraft.
Ingratitude is worse than witchcraft.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So when the election time come and they end up put up the book there. You understand? That's how it should be standing tall, because God knows it's ugly.
Let me give you the last class session.
Look what he has done. Look what the man has done. The man who has to save. Listen now. Are you really with somebody, you know? Are you really with somebody? I went with him with some of them. All in Central, I was in Central, walking around Central with him. We different team ago.
Helping to campaign for Pam.
No. Helping to campaign for Pam, yes, that's how we're helping to campaign for Pam.
Right. But no, there's a different...
And when he come in number 3, right? And when he come in number 3, some people say, I'm a line sitting now, and you know, that's how it's come. We engage. Akila come, we engage. Sean was there. You know, Sean passed when he passed, when straight with some other colleagues. So I don't know what I'm doing. All of them don't suffer because of me. What I done to Pam, what I do to Pam, how I support Pam, and the contribution I make to Pam, because I wasn't a Pam. I wasn't a Pam just like that. I was a Pam with a party card and supporting the party and giving back to the party. In number 3, I do a lot of things in the party, but I don't think Sean them not for me. I think Sean them not for me, because they just coming in late. No, the Sean have grant, no nothing about me. And I don't care this, I'm going to hold on to Dr. Harris with the PLP. PLP is in your party come, and we got to make some, PLP got to make some difference.
You hold on like Gorilla Glue, you hear?
Yeah, come in.
Gorilla Glue.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay,
but you got to pronounce the word before you go. Parfum. Right, and keep reciting it. You're going to need to use it. Parfum. Yeah, culture going to explain to you.
Yeah.
Okay, take care.
All right, take care.
Okay.
All right.
Could we take a break, acknowledge our sponsor, and come back, please?
If you have a dream, what are you waiting for? The development bank has what you need and more. We aim to build stronger communities. That's why we have so many opportunities. Business loans, student loans, we make a positive difference in your life, in your life, in your life, in your life. Yeah, financing your dream home, we make a positive difference in your life, in your life, in your life, in your life. Yeah. Development Bank of St. Kitts and Nevis. We make a sustained positive difference in your life.
Welcome to the customer support portal, where we have made it easier for you to contact us. It starts with your question, email, a message, phone call, or a search on our website. Our CSP provides prompt and efficient solutions to your problems. We pride ourselves on treating our clients responsibly and ensuring your information is kept safe. Log on to www.skndb.net and send us a ticket or email us at customersupport@skndb.com. You may also call us directly at 869-465-2288, extension 1322, or 954-353-1003.
fellow citizens, near and far. Join Newrish Nital on.
Welcome back to Fear Nor Favor. I would really want to encourage the government to utilize Mrs. Denny's weeks to go to the industrial site and have a presentation to those workers. Let us accept that call. Good evening. Welcome to Fear Nor Favor.
I have to come back here, man.
Yes, culture.
Politics. Listen, the word is simple. Always remember your ABC. Okay, there's a letter in the ABC. When you read the letter, stop. And you're going to get it in.
A, B, C, D, E, F.
Yes. F is for food.
Mm-hmm.
And you could also use it for food.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could use it for friction.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you could use it for other things too.
Fault.
Folly.
Folly.
Yes. Now, what got them going? They say, the lady in Old Road. It was me, was Grant, and the lady tell me that I would have never got to know other house. I would go back home. Because that is what you call an insult. That is with our capital letters. Go for Mr. Harris for me to talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
That's a shame. You live down there. That's your constituency. And a voter have to tell you that. Just forget it. And then all of them know it, you know. If Dr. Harris never intervene in the constituency and go around and talk to the people, a lot of them will out upon the sidewalk sitting down. And now they're coming with the foolishness, the foolish donkey advisory. But you only got 2 and we got 4 and we got 3. What numbers got to do with it? Numbers mean nothing because they might got the 3 and the 4 years, but you got to look at the numbers them individually, they're not together. That's why Harris with the 2 could have walked around and conquer them.
But the other terms might have been fractions.
Yes, fraction.
Can add up to 1.
Exactly. And they all know it. But you see, the desperate and greedy for power, more power than skeleton, and more money than the World Bank. And a lot of them don't want the World Bank to come in here to do the audit or whatever it is. But you can't be spending money like that if you have a business and you're not doing any audit. You ain't gonna know whether you're going forward or backward. You have to audit your books them. And they know what they're into. The corruption what they're into. So they don't want nobody come and investigate nothing. But you got a good man there, he ain't letting them connecting the past. All of them looking at the other one, he's a good thing, he's smart. And anyhow it is spread out the whole world, BINGO, the country will done underwater. Done underwater with them. The way they're going on. Greedy. You can tell me I'm responsible for a certain project. And I can hold a Bible in my hand and say you don't know nothing about that? Eh? Come on. What do you think you can fool? You got to know something about that. Anybody can hold up a Bible and swear because they haven't seen anybody hold up the Bible and drop down when they tell a lie yet, so they're going to tell a lie too. Boy, a lot don't come out, you know, when wind blow, everybody gonna see who been telling truth and telling lie.
The funny thing about it is that people don't like fractions. But if we attempt to add those fractions, they can come up to 1. You start with a half. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you know your rule, you know. You start with a half.
I could draw a rule.
Then you 1/4. Then you 1/8. Then you 1/16. Then you 1/32. And then you 1/64. And then you 1/128. Don't care if you add those, they can't come up to 1.
Okay. An inch has on 16. To be clear. And like you say, you got to start from a 16.
Mm-hmm.
And then they change up.
Yes.
16 to 8, 3/16 and a quarter.
Right.
And go up the line.
That's right.
So if a man has a rule and he cannot draw a rule on a piece of paper without looking at the rule to make a stroke, you need to go to school, go learn the rule. You got some people say they can read rule, you know, but you tell them, measure the piece of board there for me. They can tell you, well, let me see, it's seven and D's. What D's? Did these them have a name? Go and learn the rule.
Okay, you have to follow the rules when you're learning the rule.
Okay, that's right. That's why back to school and went down Sandy Point with no rule. He rule with the two hands.
Right.
And when you come out going in the bus, a woman mash up the rule. And there's where the perfume come in.
Perfume. Perfume. Easy
Yeah,
to
perfume.
Perfume.
Yeah, let the F echo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put you accentuate the F. You put emphasis on the F. Perfume. And you let it sink in.
Right. Go in and you digest.
Right.
Anyway, your time short, no?
Yeah.
Okay. Good night.
Yeah, thanks much for your contribution as usual. Very valuable contribution.
Yeah, thank you. Bless you.
And wish you good health going forward as usual.
Yeah.
Okay. Somebody there? Good evening.
Good night, my good friend Newrish Nital.
What's up, Jam Dog? What's up? You're embarrassing me by identifying yourself.
Well, boy, you know, that's what we do it in our town. That's why you stop left.
Too many years together for me.
Politician fool up.
That's right.
You can clean up this thing for Dr. Harris and give him a clean state. Because all the time I'm not my people and I'm going to stupid no more, you know. We don't need that, you know. We want leadership, and we very send a representative to Parliament, and he must come with his guys by Paloma shop. You know, that's how we do it.
Of course.
You know that? Anyway, another time is true radical culture was displaying what he knows best. Great guy. You remember culture and Latin?
Yes.
You know, them holidays going at the park.
Kind of man before us on those bikes.
I want to say something quickly, guys.
Go ahead.
I don't want you to run and get into this.
Go ahead.
I want to urge Minister Hamilton, please let the Westbourne not clean. Right up there by Parliament Chester where you walk backward to go over the Green Line. It's a hurricane. If God forbid, if we have to get a hurricane, it's a problem down there in the ferry terminal with all that damage. And a warning central basket people to stop doing these kind of things. The last still got things in place to pay your old bed and then carry it out there and so. And you just send them a little $10 or $15. I structure these things in the mud. It's bad. It's not nice. And I want the Prime Minister to give direction to get that there clear before we start getting major hurricane.
And even that they're wrong to do it. Because even that they're wrong to throw those objects in the gut. Those of us who know that people got bad habit, those who have the job to do it, be alert and get something to move them out. Not because people should not throw them there. You cannot afford for them there to go into the Bastille roadstead.
Like before, you got good walking jobs. The health department, the walking jobs, them down there. You look like they're different state level. Some of them put me looking like they will manage it. And I'm telling you, you hear a lot of young people crying, people send him home, put them in the job, they can't perform, you know. They cannot perform. And to be truthful in the day, I see so much things going on. You see what's going on down here in Port Granted? I'm right down here talking to you from Port Granted.
Yes.
This is the land. This is a piece of land. I rally around Simmons to build. To watch people who come around them and abuse this whole situation. You hear them talk about patches? Patches way ahead all of them. All these MPs say young MPs using return to Parliament. But all the patches in this country is different system. All the patches as an individual in give this country results and work hard and show why he went where he sent there to go. And I want you to win, if he ends up at the race, you have no other choice but being a young man at chance. Like finish it is a young boy, but he told me that what to do. For Wellington Road, he wants to take it down to George Street. All them, because you know, some of those songs, you know.
Yes.
And I just tell you, you know, we in Irish Town, McKnight, we sending a representative who born in Irish Town, McKnight, when they let me say, boy, we gotta do something for poor people, it will do. That's where we want around this country. And God forbid, he material in the real, because Nital is a silent thing, you know. You hear people on the right running around, feel like, oh, they got a chance to run about it. But people are playing stupid. Look at real leadership. Look what this guy is bringing to the country. Look what he's bringing to the country. They jumped in on his family then. His family then disqualify people. They qualify. And all who talking and trying to bring them down, let me hear some of them in the focus. You know? And I could tell you in the time, these people, we're ahead of some of them, we're ahead of some of them.
That's
but
true.
we can, I'm urging you to continue to put the best foot forward. We want to see wrong and support wrong. I hear what I saying earlier. We send some people to Parliament. We give them a mandate of 5 years and they'll come back and tell us they're cutting short.
Right. No, total disrespect. Total disrespect. But I'm going to endorse the candidate for down there, but I'm going to tell him one thing. On his door in government headquarters, please put on, do not knock, just come in. Do not knock, just come in.
And then the thing I want to touch quickly, you know, Tom and Labour, they got a class distinction. That's another show.
No, you're right.
Tom and Labour, when you see you go around them and you give them 150%, anyway, you know. They're not in a way that the people them to bring in to the big job. You think in Philippines call up the port? What you know about port authority? You have young man Louis Henderson.
From Sandy Point. Intelligent and experience from Sandy Point.
Yes. And these people just doing this young man and the right. And the man, what? That was a man when me, him, and Grandma Carla was into work. The fuck set the work of the town family, you know. The town family started up there when the fuck book aboard. Book of value on that right deal. And then you pay up there with my point bill. That young man back is short. We had 10 minutes to walk for the stage. Because me was going to and the ship singing in the middle, and we had to walk them from after 10 till about 4 o'clock in the morning. And then young man back off the short and come in, he couldn't even catch him back to the road. But he's never been lying to make the walk easy and get the walk going. And that man still there. That vagabond by Douglas take me walk because me walk this country with Simmons, trying to get people support Simmons to bring this food right there and stream. Take me walk fire, keep fire. 21 hours, Jamo, Properly, Iowa, Marvin, Yellowfelony, Watch, Seaborn, Iowa, we walk playing the labor line. But the better you just leave the politics alone. Because he alone is a big blow. He's a big blow to Labour. Labour can't run away with peace. He got to stay out this race for Labour to show the head. He got to go. But right now, this is Timothy Harris' time. He's poor. But he's the only man. equipped for the job. And damn the way I leave him. Because when you got a leader, hold him. Listen, I want the communists to understand, please clean them up before the holiday season starts. Nital, God bless you. You take care of yourself.
Same
And I
thing.
want to hear you some more.
Same thing, my brother. Same to you.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks much. On that note, we have come to the end of our session for tonight, and I would like to thank all the callers who called in and made the program what it turned out to be. And a special thank you to sponsor the Development Bank for the continued supply of oxygen for the sustenance of this all-important socio-economic program. Thank you.
The opinions and statements made by the host and participants in this program are not those of the owners, advertisers, and management company of Sugar City FM 90.3, nor are such statements necessarily supported or endorsed by the owners, managers, or advertisers of this station. While we encourage all to share their opinions, we do not support any comments that may slander, discriminate, or otherwise offend anyone, and we insist that you refrain from any such statements.
If you have a dream, what are you waiting for?